Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. Here's what's coming up on the program. People's Democratic Party federal lawmakers threaten to dump party if its acting national chairman Umar Damagun continues to stay in power, accuse him of anti-party activities. Carter John's suit seeking disqualification of Edo All Progressives Congress governorship candidate Mr. Monday Okpebolo, referred against him by a fellow contender in the primary, Mr. Nemero Dekeri. And the Nigeria Labour Congress set committee across local and state to conduct national convention of the Labour Party. Now, the center appears not to hold any longer for the People's Democratic Party, whose festering crisis has now seen 60 lawmakers threaten to change aisles in the House of Representatives if the party's national chairman, Umar Damagun, continues in office. He's been accused of anti-party activity and inability to effectively lead the opposition, resulting in electoral and litigation losses. Some of the 60 lawmakers in the Green Chambers, led by member representing Idiaton North and South Federal Constituency, Mr. Ikenga Oguchinyere, maintains that Damagun must resign or they will leave the party.
That role which Nigerians would have loved the PDP to play as an institution, it truly is, has been abandoned for a plate of porridge. A serious leadership would have set up structures to review what, why, and how the party failed to win the last presidential election, and also failed to secure majority in both chambers of National Assembly. Rather, the Umar Damagun-led NWC is working to hand over the party to the ruling APC and their agents. There have been agreement of a broad spectrum of the party leadership when it became clear that Damagun was not interested in conducting an election but to appoint caretaker committee in at least 90 states, where the tenure of the state and local government leaders were expiring, to extend the tenure of these officials by 3 months. Despite that decision to retain everybody, Mr. Damagun went ahead and received a list of APC agents and announced them as members and leaders of PDP local government caretaker committee, homes only in Rivers and partially in at least 10 states. Presently, in all the states where PDP is not the governor, Damagun has already concluded arrangement to hand the party leadership to APC. In the specific case of Rivers State, the caretaker committee members from Damagun's office are LUGA chairmen produced by former Rivers State House of Assembly members who, as we all know, have lost their seats following their defection to APC. They have formally left the PDP, and Damagun is taking a list from them to announce.
We'll continue to follow that whole incident or that challenge with the PDP and see how it plays out eventually. But let's tell you that the All Progressives Congress in Edo State is having its fair share of political disagreements, which is now a subject of litigation, as Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the suit seeking the removal of the nomination of Senator Monday Okpebolo as candidate of the September governorship election in that state. Justice Nwite adjourned the matter after counsel representing Senator Okpebolo announced that he is yet to be served with the process following a suit filed by one of the contestants in the primary, Mr. Nemero Dekeri, claiming that he won the February 17 APC primary election. At the day's proceedings, counsel to Senator Okpebolo asked for an adjournment to enable him get the process and respond appropriately. Justice Nwite subsequently adjourned the matter to March the 8th and ordered that the process be served on Senator Okpebolo. We're not done yet with Edo State politics. It's almost 24 hours since 38-year-old Omabayo Marvelous Godwins was sworn in as new deputy governor of the state following the impeachment of Mr. Philip Shaibu. Godwins, who hails from Akoko Edo local government area, is an engineer with a record of professional experience in the oil and gas sector and a registered member of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, as well as the Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, besides being a grassroots politician. However, Mr. Godwin's emergence was preceded by a turbulent turn in the political journey of the embattled of his embattled predecessor, Philip Shaibu, whose trouble arguably started due to how events played out following his ambition to succeed his principal.
On Monday, 8th April, seals the Edo State House of Assembly's pronouncement on the state's deputy governor. A premonition that his days as deputy governor of Edo State were numbered had led Mr. Philip Shaibu to, as early as July 2023, approach the Federal High Court, Abuja, to help avert the impending loss of office. His claims were declared unfounded by the state governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki.
I am not aware of any plots or any scheme to impeach the Deputy Governor, Right Honorable Philip Shaibu. I believe that this action by him is just a preemptive move to get a court order, keep his position while he now moves to the other party to get a ticket.
However, when Mr. Shaibu made a public appearance on August 27 for the first time following the institution of the suit, this altercation occurred. The 60th anniversary of the Midwest referendum held in Benin City, the Edo State capital, revealed another crack on the wall as the deputy governor's media crew was denied access to the ceremony. This signboard, appearing in front of number 7 Dennis Osadebe Avenue, GRA, Benin City, on September 2, sparked rumors that the relocation from Government House was imminent for the deputy governor. However, no official remarks followed this development. On 5th September, the deputy governor, in a circular, disclosed withdrawal of the suit at the Federal High Court. He stated that the decision to withdraw the suit came after a series of meetings involving him, Governor Obaseki, and well-meaning citizens of Edo and other Nigerians, including party leaders, traditional rulers, and the Archbishop, Benin Archdiocese of the Catholic Church. On Monday, 11th September, movement of files from the Deputy Governor's office within the Government House was recorded, indicating that the relocation to number 7 Dennis Osadebe Avenue had commenced. On 18th September, however, a video of Mr. Shaibu locked out of his office within number 1 Osadebe Avenue surfaced.
The governor said they should lock it. They are using the office for something else. I have not moved to anywhere. Nobody has given me a letter to move to anywhere. Nobody has given me a letter. So if governor say I've moved, I have not moved. I have not moved. The governor did not give me a letter. Nobody has given me a letter to move.
And in 2024, following the 19th March resolution of the Edo State House of Assembly, the state's judiciary set up a 7-man investigative panel to investigate allegations of misconduct leveled against the deputy governor. On the 8th of April, the panel's report is presented at the House, where it's adopted and subsequently voted on.
Well, that's how things played out for Mr. Philip Shaibu, who is now the former deputy governor of Edo State. Omabaya Marvelous Godwins is now the new deputy governor. And you can see we had to chronicle that journey. Since there was a time Philip Shaibu was arguably the most popular deputy governor. Today, he doesn't have that job anymore. But what really happened at the end of the day? We have to backtrack, so we'll see what's going on and take a look at the future. We're being joined on the program by the Commissioner for Information and Communication and Orientation in Edo State, Mr. Chris Nehikare. Mr. Nehikare, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Also joined on the program by Mr. Andrew Nwanta, former Edo State Commissioner for Information. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, or this afternoon.
Mr. Nehikare, let me start with you quickly. How is Mr. Godwin settling in? It's about 24 hours now since he became deputy governor.
Settling in very well. The job is a job that is there, and you are working at the pleasure of the governor. He assigns business to you, and you treat it. And His Excellency He's working very well, at least in the last 24 hours since he came on. He's been on television, been on radio. He's dealing with some files that have been assigned to him, and so far so good.
So let's go back to the issue that led to the exit of Mr. Philip Shaibu. Some people have said that, look, the reason why, because we're going to pick the issues in bits and pieces as much as time will allow us. Some people said the reason why he chose not to make an appearance personally or by his representatives or lawyers at the panel that was set up after the impeachment notice was served on him and all of that was because ab initio, he was already aware of the outcome. How would the government respond to that?
Well, I don't know why he wouldn't appear. Most law-abiding citizens, when they are invited by the House of Assembly, or invited by a properly constituted panel, they have to go there to show cause. And I don't know why the former deputy governor, Philip Shaibu, chose not to appear. And it's unfortunate that he did not appear. And what needed to be done has been done. And what the panel had no choice. If you are told to come and defend yourself and you refuse to defend yourself, then you are presumed to be guilty of whatever you are charged with.
We're going to go back to some of the things that constituted this particular impeachment. Let's come to Mr. Mwanta. I want to get your first reaction to this announcement or this move by the State Assembly in terms of terminating the job of Mr. Philip Shaibu and getting a new man for the position.
Yeah, thank you. Before I continue, let me quickly correct two impressions the Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, my successor in office, made. First, he talked about, that the Deputy Governor is in the office of that constitutionally created position at the pleasure of the Governor. As a Commissioner, he's the one that is at the pleasure of the Governor, not a Deputy Governor. The Deputy Governor occupies office at the pleasure of the people of Edo State who elected him. It's because the Governor has done the wrong thing. That's why my friend Chris Nigerianpolitics can use that very catchphrase, pleasure. The Deputy Governor is elected. Obaseki, without the approval of the House of Assembly, brought in somebody through the back door. Section 191 of the Constitution, sub 36 says, for a person to occupy the office of Deputy Governor when there's a casual vacancy, it must be with the approval of the House of Assembly. He is Commissioner for Information. I want him to respond to that. If that young man was brought before the Assembly, even before he was sworn in as a commissioner like me, he went before the Assembly, he was screened. At the end of the day, the approval did not just come, it came with the support of all the members of the House of Assembly. We all presented ourselves. But in a commando fashion, immediately after the House of Assembly pronounced the impeachment of Shaibu, the government immediately swore in somebody without following due process. We don't have a constitutional democracy in Edo State. What we have is a dictatorship. 14 members of the House of Assembly were prevented by this Obaseki. Unfortunately, we were there, we allowed it, and that is why he's doing what he's doing. So that Mr. President must ensure that what is happening in Edo does not repeat itself. We have a constitutional democracy. Obaseki is not the owner of Edo State. He's just one person. And on the 12th of on the 12th November this year, his tenure of office will end. Even my friend Nekare, he used the words at the pleasure. At the pleasure of Obaseki, he will also leave government on the 12th of November this year. So what we saw yesterday was a rape of democracy, was a violation of the Constitution. And for us, we are in court. He talked about, the Deputy Governor was supposed to appear, that he was presumed, to have been there, that the moment he fails to come, he will be charged as guilty, and that was wrong. The Constitution is clear. 3 months is what the Constitution has stipulated. For a period of 3 months, the panel was supposed to sit. But that panel sat in less than 48 hours. We sent a lawyer there. Before the panel even started sitting, a court gave an order. Justice Ayeko gave an order that all the parties, the chairman and 3 members, the chief judge of the House of Assembly, must appear before the court to show cause why the injunction should not be granted. But because they know that the court will give an order, they quickly went ahead with the impeachment proceedings.
So let me,
the deputy governor was not invited. A copy of the impeachment notice was not served on him.
But
that's a matter of fact before the court.
Hold on, Mr. Mwata. There were releases that we saw that said that the deputy governor was evading service, and so they had to substitute that service. He was invited twice, and appearances were not made or represented. Is that a fact, or what exactly is going on here?
Those are blatant lies. I'm happy my brother is there, Chris Nekare. He knows that we have official channels of communication, right? The deputy governor got ESCO papers all through the time he was deputy governor. Those were official communications. He was acting governor. He communicated with the House of Assembly using official channels. So what are they saying? They are just trying to be clever by half. They are trying to act in a legal manner, but illegally. It is only a court of competent jurisdiction that can order service by substituted means. Section 182 talks about personal service on the deputy governor, which they did not do.
Because of time, let me go to Mr. Nhekari. He has raised a couple of issues. First, he's talked about the constitutionality or otherwise, that in getting a new deputy governor, the notice is supposed to go to the House of Assembly, that will be notified and all of that. That was not done, so I needed to speak to that. He also spoke about the fact that there were no communication to the deputy governor. We're hearing this for the first time, because we've read on the news where we heard that it was evasive and it was substituted service eventually, and he was invited and they had to adjourn because he didn't appear, and the second time and all of that. So maybe you speak to all of this gamut of issues in one fell swoop.
Well, I think first things first, my brother Emata, I think it gets very personal and very emotional when he talks about issues. And I think we need to talk about, he mentioned something about within 3 months, the process to go. The word within, stipulates that it's done within 3 months. 3 months can be 3 days, 5 days, 20 days, 90 days. Within. The panel was set up properly. The panel invited the deputy governor, not once, not twice, but at least 3 times. And the panel got, not the panel now, the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly at the same time, now we got an order for it to be invited any which way for him to get the message. And we've not gone past that. The fact that his lawyer appeared at the panel, that tells us that he got the message. I think that should satisfy Emata and whatever legalities bring. I'm not a lawyer. What I do is to tell people the way it is in the right way. The injunction Mr. Emata talks about, you and I know was not granted. Someone goes to court and tells the judge, please stop this process. The judge says, okay, I will consider your process, but I want you and the other party to come to court at a certain date so that you can tell me why I should grant it. That injunction has not been granted. There's nothing like that. I'm not a lawyer, but a layman like myself and you, we all know that is the procedure. And then the panel sat. Shaibu got a lawyer who came there. He was there, he refused to defend. He said he was talking about an injunction that not be granted. You did not use arrogance of knowledge or arrogance of power to determine political things. You go there and defend yourself. When you defend yourself, then you talk to people who will listen. They don't need bringing emotions or sentiments into this matter. You know, this could have been stopped months ago. But because of this kind of attitude, where my friend, I think he may be one of those that have advised the deputy governor to take this militant role to fight not just the governor, but the whole state. It took the matters of Edo State ESCO. It broke his oath of secrecy to Edo State. It broke that oath. And that alone is an impeachable offense.
All right, before I come to you, Mr. Mwata.
Excuse me, sir. We swore to oath of secrecy. Some things that we swore to. Oath of allegiance, oath of secrecy. We all did it. Emata did it. We all did it, and every governor did it. But then it broke that oath. It's a matter for impeachment, and it's there in the Constitution. And secondly, I don't know why Emata keeps saying deputy governor was voted for the people of Edo State. It was not. When the governor got his ticket as a party candidate, he chose his deputy governor. He chose him. He could have chosen anybody in Edo State. He could have chosen anybody, just the same way he has chosen His Excellency Omobola Godwin's now. That's what the Constitution says. Oshaibu did not campaign to be deputy governor. He did not campaign to be deputy governor. No, he was chosen to run as a running mate.
All right, so because of time, Mr.
The deputy governor is there at the pleasure of the governor. It is what is assigned to him. My friend Mata is a lawyer. He should read the Constitution of the duty.
Mr. Nhekari, one more, just straight question. Did the government? I'm going to go to Mr. White, who is laughing. I want to know why he's laughing. Did the governor communicate this nomination or picking of Mr. Godwin to the House of Assembly, and did they communicate back to him? Was there any form of communication? Just to put that on record.
I don't know that. I don't know. Imanta is quoting some parts of the constitution which I'm not aware of. What I know is that the governor picks his deputy governor. I don't know why.
Let me come to you, Mr. Nwata. I want to respond. You want to respond to him? Because I asked my question.
You know, he admitted that he's talking out of ignorance of the law, and I agree, because Section 191 sub 2(3), sub 3(c), I didn't create that provision. And if you look at the Constitution, it's very clear. We've had it before in other states. Though it's not the first state where a deputy governor would be in Nigeria, where a deputy governor would be removed. Even as commissioner, he will admit that before we were sworn into office, we went through the process of the House of Assembly. The governor has an attorney general. Ignorance of the law cannot be excused where you have an attorney general whose office is created under Section 211 of the Constitution. It is the duty of the attorney general to advise the governor. So having violated the Constitution, can that man, in all honesty, discharge the office of the governor, or sorry, of the deputy governor? And I'm sorry to say that we have an information commissioner that is telling the whole world that the deputy governor was not elected with the governor. When we say joint ticket, what do we mean? It's not a single ticket. Just where Obaseki was elected, the deputy governor was elected. Most people voted for that ticket because of tribal. Nobody knew Obaseki before 2016. It was Philip, most people know. He was a man's president. This is a man that brought so much to that ticket. He did a whole lot during the campaigns. And I'm surprised that Information Commissioner would say both of them were not elected. It was only Obaseki that was elected. The governor nominates. He does not choose. He nominates a deputy governor. So as an Information Commissioner, Chris Nekade should be informed. Don't come and disinform and misinform people. We're on a national TV. We should educate people.
As we begin to wind down, Mr. Chris, let me reference the constitutional provision that Mr. Nwata is talking about. Section 191, subsection 3C. So where the office of the deputy governor becomes vacant, sub C says, for any other reason, the governor shall nominate and with the approval of the House of Assembly of a state, appoint a new deputy governor. That's the provision of the law. You say you don't know whether that was communicated. You want to respond to that before I ask my next question?
I'll tell you something. By the time the deputy governor was removed, there was a few hours in between. We cannot stay and speculate because there was no fanfare at the House of Assembly that this is what's going on. And I can tell you, because Amata made this same argument yesterday, and I called him Mr. Speaker, and Mr. Speaker said he was aware. The majority of the House of Assembly said they were aware. And so when they were aware, what you're saying...
Mr. Nehikari, the fact is that there's a new deputy governor. We're just speaking to process. The language of the Constitution says nominate and with the approval of the House of Assembly. But let's leave all of that. I just needed to put the law. He is a lawyer, but we needed to quote the law for you. But where does this leave the entire... Because your party is going for an election. All of you now are members of the PDP. You're going for an election, and this issue of infighting has been on. I know that the governor had issue with his predecessor, Oshomole. He's had issue with Governor Wike that was instrumental to his emergence in the second term. And now with the deputy governor that is now impeached, Philip Shaibu himself has also had issue with Oshomole. So it's been a gamut of issues. It's politics. But where does this leave everyone? Maybe both of you speak to it as we wrap up the program. Mr. Nehikari, let me start with you ahead of the elections.
Well, we are a political party. Our party does not revolve around one person or a couple of people. We have lots of people in our party. Our new deputy governor is also from this state. He has his own political influence. So as a political party, we keep reaching out to everybody to join us to make sure we win the next election. That we'll continue to do, and that's what we are doing. You know, we don't have the arrogance like my friend is so sentimental. We don't have that arrogance to say we will win or we will lose. No. We keep reaching out to Edo people. We keep telling Edo people what we have done. We keep having a message to sell to them. For them to believe we have the best of the candidates, that we have the best of the programs, and we have their best interests at heart. That's what we do. We are not sentimental. The reason why they're fighting or they are up in arms against the government is because he has refused to share the money and use those terms. He has been using all the resources of the state for the development of the state. That is it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. Has he done well in education? He has. Has he done well in all the parameters to measure good governance? We have
Mr.
passed
Nekare,
60
you made an allegation. Let Mr. Nwata now respond. Because of time, my apologies. Mr. Nwata, you can respond. And I know that you said you're going to court. So I don't know. What are you filing in court? Because Section 188, I think subsection 13 or so, or 11, talked about what constitutes misconduct. Is that where you're going to? And maybe you respond to that allegation as well as we wrap up.
No, we are already in court, and just like in the Lajudia's case, after the illegalities were committed in Adeleke and in Minakuja and Adeleke, the Supreme Court said the impeachment was illegal. We're in court, so I will not start releasing our firepower here. But just to say that in the situation where the rule of law is jettisoned, anarchy becomes the sole beneficiary. There's lawlessness in Edo State. You said we are all members of the same party. I don't belong to their party, PDP. I left their party last year when I realized the governor was becoming a complete godfather, was becoming lawless, was becoming directionless. He talks about sharing money. The people who impeached Shaibu, was it water they gave them? He talks about the governor does want to share money. We know what was involved. We know what went down in this impeachment. Over $1 billion was spent. From last year, this journey started. Groups were hired. We know what happened. Senior advocates that are involved in cases, we know how much they have paid them. 5 of them were in court the last day. So we know what the governor is doing is Edo taxpayers' money that is going down the drain.
Right.
People who traveled to the Kangaroo inauguration they did yesterday, we know how much went down. So for us, Edo people will make a decision on the 21st of September this year. And Obasaki's 10-term ambition will be given a fatal blow because he wants to bring in a surrogate that will use to perpetuate himself for one more term in office. And we will say no to that on the 21st of September.
All right, gentlemen, at the end of the day, it's been allegations and counter allegations. But I must thank both of you for coming on the program. Apparently, this is not the end of the conversation. You have an election ahead of you, so we'll be dragging all of you into the studio time and again to have this conversation. Chris Nekare, Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, as well as a former Edo Commissioner for Information, Mr. Andrew Nwata. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Let's move on now. The leadership battle in the Labour Party is far from over, and the latest is the decision by the Nigerian Labour Congress Political Commission to set up an inclusive and expansive committee across local and state governments to conduct what they term a proper national convention of the party. The committee will also serve as a reconciliatory organ to resolve all the lingering crises among members of the party. The NLC Political Commission Professor Theophilus Ndubuako says the meeting will set up a caretaker committee comprising all relevant stakeholders that will organize the party's convention. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. Happy holidays. You have today, tomorrow, and the day after to have a great time. I will be here to bring you the biggest stories in the polity. Thank you for watching. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.